Point-of-care diagnostics have become a major frontier as we attempt to make medical diagnoses and treatments more upstream and closer to primary and bedside care. The ability to instantly test for and reliably diagnose both physiological and disease states will help physicians more efficiently triage patients and address medical issues earlier. Moreover, it could help patients avoid unnecessary and expensive lab tests, as well as other invasive diagnostic tests. In addition, point-of-care diagnostics can help relieve the burden on radiology and surgery suites alike. Within this space exist tests for standard panels of health indicators, fertility, as well as many other disease states. There have been various approaches to miniaturizing the testing equipment and minimizing the testing cycle, including the use of nanotechnology. This said, Hunniwell has a keen interest in breath diagnostics, a special subset of point-of-care diagnostics. Medical devices represent a huge market segment of the healthcare industry, projected to reach over $600 billion within the next 5 years. One large segment of this market is the point-of-care diagnostic space, inclusive of devices such as glucose monitors, hematologic testing, fertility testing, infectious disease testing, as well as metabolic disease testing. A special segment of this market, which will be the focus of today's talk, is breath diagnostics, a sometimes overlooked area of innovation that even seems to be left out of large market firms' research. This is likely due to not much market analyses being performed in this subsector, but even data from Germany alone shows the growing percentage of breath analyzers for medical use and an overall huge CAGR of 28.8% in the next several years. So when we exhale, we naturally release respiratory droplets, but we also release volatile organic compounds, also known as VOCs. VOCs are endogenous metabolites released from our breath when we exhale that contain a specific chemical makeup. Examples of major components of VOCs are nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon dioxide. Now, when you think about breath representing a biomarker for a certain state, many will likely think of breathalyzers detecting metabolized ethanol, and this being correlated to intoxication. Though, in the last few decades, our breath has been increasingly relevant in the potential diagnosis of common diseases through detection of certain ratios of these VOC compounds. The literature has shown for many decades that breath condensate of certain VOCs may be aberrantly elevated or diminished in certain disease states. For example, in a 1977 Lancet study, researchers were able to stratify methane levels in breath condensate by disease status. No cancer had the lowest detectable levels, non-malignant colorectal cancer had intermediate levels, whereas malignant colorectal cancer had the highest detectable levels of methane. Further, in a 2002 chest study, significantly higher levels of IL-6, or interleukin-6, and 8-isoprostane were seen in patients with obstructive sleep apnea. As you can see, the list goes on and on. Therefore, these data have for a long time set the stage for the potential use of human breath condensate for disease state diagnosis. The advantages of breath diagnostic tools are easy to conceptualize. For example, it may one day remove the necessity for invasive procedures to diagnose disease, such as a biopsy. Relatedly, the speed of this test may be much quicker than current standards. Next, optimization of the technique could even lend a hand toward earlier detection of disease given novel biomarkers. Finally, if deployed correctly and effectively, and once healthcare economics and reimbursement strategies have been fully fleshed out, there is a potential for cost savings as these technologies address burdensome and costly diseases. The graphic here on the right illustrates a workflow for an optimized breath diagnostic technology that involves quick access to results, blowing into a breath device, inserting the sample into a breath analyzer, and reading results on your mobile device in real time. Though with an exciting technology such as breath diagnostics, one may easily forget some of the challenges involved with building and validating such technology, especially within the context of the healthcare system. For example, how sensitive and specific is the biomarker in a very diverse population? Because we are measuring these compounds in the gaseous phase in minute concentrations of parts per billion, not even parts per million, but parts per billion, the ability to design instruments that do not contribute to the background noise has also been a challenge. The clinical trials would have to be massive to establish a clinically adoptable biomarker. Moreover, would there be issues with repeatability, deployability, portability, standardization, or sample handling with these technologies? How cost-efficient can the production be? These are the challenges many researchers and innovators may be facing when dealing with breath diagnostics. This may also be the reason why no clear market leader has arisen, or emerge from this exciting field. With all of this being said, the future holds much promise around breath diagnostics. Every day, there is a new innovation within the field. For example, although GCMS may be the current standard for analysis, researchers are working on the likes of mid-infrared laser spectroscopy within the context of VOCs as an optimized analytical tool. Hopefully, one day, breath diagnostics can be fully integrated within the complex health ecosystem, either as standard of diagnosis or as a valuable adjunctive diagnostic tool. Finally, proliferation of mobile, remote, and on-the-go data collection is accelerating, and large amounts of user-generated data can be informative for machine learning and predictive analytics in the context of patient outcomes and health factors. This could be especially true for breath diagnostics with the current move to telemonitoring, an infrastructure that has already been established. In sum, breath diagnostics may represent a way to diagnose a variety of diseases and could potentially battle some aspects of healthcare inefficiency as it relates to diagnosis.